Law of Attraction. Metaphysics and Beyond. The Magic of Creating Reality. By Mike Tisdale. Introduction. We are human beings, first. Human do's, second. Everything is energy. All that's needed to do is to match the frequency of the reality you want. As a result, as a side effect of reality, you cannot help but get that reflected back to you in the form of experiential reality. You get what you focus upon. This is the law of attraction. This is not just a philosophy. This is not simply an aphorism. This is physics. So what is metaphysics? Metaphysics is that which is beyond physics. This is taking the law of attraction to the next level. This is a level beyond just thinking fluffy thoughts, being aware of your emotions and making cute affirmations. This is spiritual physics. This is metaphysics and beyond. Spirituality and physics combined teachings, or metaphysics teachings, have been present for many years, many centuries. They have taught us that the basic component of the physical universe is a force or spirit that we call energy. Quantum physics reminds us that nothing is really solid, it's all just energy, energy of empty comprising of 99% empty space. Still, energy is everything and everything is energy. It is further defined by the fact that everything is vibrating and it has an impact on everything else. Commanding your energy flow. First, some basics. Remember, we are human beings, first. Human do's, second. What we give our attention to, we give our energy to. The mind can focus the energy of reality as a whole, experientially speaking. That energy flows where attention goes is one of the important principles in the law of attraction. It is actually not a science, just a fact. Literally speaking, frustration produces more frustration, anxiety leads to more anxiety. When you change your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior will follow. Different thoughts, different emotions and different behavior produces a different reality. Why? Because we are beings, first and foremost, then doers. This principle is applicable on many levels. It can be best explained as whatever you spend most of your conscious and unconscious time thinking about, will sprout into solid form in your reality. This can be positive as well as negative. If you focus the majority of your attention on why things are not working the way you want them to, then your struggle will grow, become more specific and more concrete with evidence to support your negative state of being. We are human beings, first. Human do's, second. Your state of being determines your state of reality. What state are you currently being? And if you are not clear about your goals and directions, then this uncertainty will grow within your life. Thus, we are to be sure about our goals, about what we want in our life and not what you want to avoid. It is very important for creating things in this universe. This is the power of vision. A vision to focus your energy is essentially like a laser, otherwise energy will scatter and become powerless. This is also related to meditation. Meditation of energy comes from the Latin root med, which means to measure. It is the same root from which the word medicine was formed. Meditation is refocusing of one's energy. It was considered to be the best medicine available. A new definition of meditation evolved. It states that you don't have to sit down for hours and watch your breath to meditate, although it is not a bad practice. There are many benefits. Generally speaking, most people meditate naturally several times a day, but with badly placed focus most of the time. Every form of remembering bad memories is a meditation. Many habitually meditate on failure, sorrow, lack, disappointment instead of triumphs, accomplishments, aspirations and empowerment. This is likewise known as hypnosis, which is another name for a state of focused attention and energy. Since energy flows where attention goes, it is not just about meditating for hours and then not changing the rest of your focus. It is actually the sum or general attitude you have towards life. According to the law of attraction, we draw into our lives whatever we focus on. Quantum physics has taught us that nothing is permanent, nothing is firm, that there are no restrictions, no limitations, and that everything is a vibrating energy which everything on Earth is governed by. How empowering! Plants grow better when they are exposed to certain musical vibrations. Sound vibrations influence the molecules. It is very hard to believe that thoughts, words, or music can affect the structure of water. So just think about it. If thoughts can do that with water, visualize what our emotions can do to us. It is interesting to know that the human body has a biofield of power and energy. Human body has a biofield of energy competing through and around it, affecting our mental and physical liveliness. The greatest thing about this is that with our mind, we can control every joule of this energy within us. Law of vibration. Just as a pebble creates vibrations that appear as an undulation in the surface of a liquid, which travel outward in a body of water, your thoughts produce vibrations that travel outward into the globe, and attract similar vibrations that manifest as conditions in your life. It's been believed that if you want something, you must have an affirmative approach, and affirmative feelings towards it. If you don't have such feelings, you won't achieve what you are reaching for. This law of attraction works like this: when you exist in an affirmative state of mind, you will vibrate in the direction of that which you wish to attain. It also works the other way, such as if you have a slightly pessimistic thought, an unease, or are hesitant somehow, this pessimism and unbelieving increases the pessimistic energy and can hold you back from achieving your desire, or job. These pessimistic thoughts will keep you from accomplishing your tasks until you discontinue them and focus on affirmative thoughts. If your thoughts are even slightly hesitant about anything you want, you won't gain it because you aren't in vibration to it. Your focus is on what you don't desire instead of that which you do desire. Science has revealed that everything in the universe is in fact composed of packets of energy, quantized units which vibrate at specific frequencies. Everything that seems to be firm is vibrating at the frequency of the energy that makes it up. The interesting fact about this is that the more dense the object, the higher the speed of the vibration. Thought is where it all begins. When we keep on thinking something or incessantly perceive something, then our conscious mind dwells consistently on thoughts of a certain quality. This becomes firmly entrenched within the subconscious mind. They then become the leading vibration and set up a reverberation with other similar vibrations and bring them to your life. The law of vibration also states that nothing stands inactive, not for even a moment. All things in the universe are in an invariable condition of movement. The laws of attraction and vibration are quite much related to one another. To understand how the law of attraction functions, we have to first understand how the law of vibration functions. Vibration is defined as a back and forth motion. It can also vacillate, shudder, or sway. Those who think positively are in an excellent condition of vibration, and those who think negatively or have any doubt or a lack of surety are in a bad condition of vibration. People who are in a good state of vibration have affirmative thoughts and are usually the ones who achieve good things. They'll always be a magnet for affirmative things or people. And the same is true of the people who think negatively. They vibrate negativity, thus they attract negativity to their lives. They attract problems, suffering, panic, fury, or whatever negative emotions one has. And yes, it can be controlled. You can be in charge of the consequences you obtain by controlling what you vibrate to. You can take in everything you want, but if you are not finding what you desire in life, it is because you are uncertain of what you desire or you are unaware of the law of vibration. Electronics uses electromagnetic fields. If two electromagnetic fields are functioning in concert, they are working in accord. During this time, the vibrating velocity can be transmitted easily from one to another by means of electrons. This is what happens with our beliefs. When you believe something, and vibrate with it, you create a frequency. That frequency is sent out into the universe and finds an object that also vibrates at that identical frequency. The electromagnetic waves your brain produces from your thoughts vibrate to the precise energy level as the item or thing that is in the universe that you are asking for. We can augment the force levels of those feelings by focusing on those examples, and therefore, those thoughts will become more successful. Consequently, from the above discussion, it is clear that there is no division between the law of attraction and the law of vibration. When you apply one, you encourage the other. There is no division of the two. Musical vibrations governs the growth of plants. Plants are influenced by music. Music governs them. It is seen that under the jazz and classical music have more of an effect on plants than rock and hard music. When plants are being exposed to music they don't like, they bend away from the speakers from which the music is coming, and if they like the music they bend towards the speaker. Sound vibrations affect molecular form. Cymatics experiments have shown that it is seen that when sand is sprinkled on a metal plate and the plate is vibrated through sound, the sand will then work itself into patterns, and as the frequency increases the pattern becomes more and more complex. Words, thoughts and music affect the molecular structure of water. It is so interesting to see that our words, thoughts and music affect the molecular structure of water. It is no wonder, but the power of energy. Masaru Emoto, an author, performed an experiment in which he used different words of different emotions, I hate you, love and gratitude, and the names of some departed people, Adolf Hitler, Mother Teresa, wrote them onto a paper, fixed them on glass bottles filled with water and let them rest overnight. He also placed water between speakers for several hours and played different kinds of music like jazz, classical, heavy metal, etc. Then, he kept the frozen droplets of water under observation through a microscope. The results he found were amazing. He also froze droplets of water and kept them under examination through a microscope and photographed them. The positive words and classical music generated white crystals in beautiful shapes. Heavy metal music and negative words generated brown crystals in unpleasant shapes. This experiment proved that the words, thoughts, emotions and the music affect the molecular structure of water. The vibrational frequency of medicines work like medicine. Vibrational medicines are true mind-spirit therapy. Vibration or frequency actually refers to the pulsations of energy that make up patterns of life and matter. The famous equation of Albert Einstein states that energy, E, is equivalent to matter, M, with is the vibratory rate speeded up very greatly. The next term related to this is resonance. It is defined as the quality, capacity and ability of an energy field to influence the vibratory rate of another. A German scientist, Fritz Popp, was a biophysics researcher. He did an experiment in which he used the vibrational frequency of vasodilator chemicals, histamine and acetylcholine, to produce an increased flow of blood in the coronary arteries of a guinea pig's heart. He then applied the opposite, chemicals which inhibited the blood flow. He actually didn't use the chemicals, but the vibration of the chemicals in the form of low-frequency waves. The chemical's position was taken by the signal because signal is the signature of the chemical molecule. He believed that each and every molecule in the universe has a unique frequency, and the language it uses to communicate with the world is a resonating wave. Thus we can vibrationally reveal ourselves, and the vibe of the medicine works like the medicine. Magic permission slips of creation. Magic is simply the art of creative consciousness. Each of us is part of the creative stream of existence, and when we learn to use our thoughts and choices in very specific ways to create particular results, we are traversing magic. A wizard or magi studies the patterns of creation around them, in nature and all other arrangements. This process involves as much deep responsiveness and listening as it required for creating it, and one can truly perceive how the existence of something is explained unless each part of the birth is observed, noticed and fully felt. Most people don't recognize that magic is being used all the time, and a great deal in very unexpected situations. It is applied everywhere. Successful business training systems teach their administrators to use magic in logical ways. These trainings instruct individuals how to be extremely self-important and self-confident. In the past, there were people who were so skillful in using their consciousness to interconnect the powers of nature and the holy, they were known as devil worshippers, and were believed to be evil. In fact, many of the crones who were burned under these pretenses were healers and served very important functions in their community as advisors, teachers, and leaders. The magic taught that souls do not have the power to heal themselves, each other, or even connect with the divine source. The church and the priest are the only means to cure this. This procedure of restraint, deprivation, and disassociation has continued for a long time, and at present has forgotten much of the mass consciousness of the planet in dire straits. Today is the time for the reawakening of these powers and processes, both to battle the disadvantageous magic that is being inflicted upon the private, as considerably as to unlock the beautiful healing arts that occur with a direct reconnection to the divine source. What is this manifestation? Manifestation is something that you create with your own workforce. Manifest literally means literally, gripped by the hand. Manus means hand, festus means gripped. Magic and manifestation are two sides of the same coin. They work as the marriage of your actions. The fuel and the flame act as the universe's assistants. Prayer. Prayer is magic, it is simply a passive form of creative consciousness. When you keep on asking for what you want from the source, you open yourself to collect that gift from creation. Most of the people are scared to ask, many people are scared to ask, thought, they are reserved about being specific. There are others who ask for something, and do not coordinate, or apply any actions to aid in the manifestation process. It is realized that symbols, colors, geometries can be used to filter this asking more, and more precisely intention in their connection with the source. How does the magical creation process start? The magical creation process has already been started by you since you were born. Starting from the birth, you have developed and constructed imaginative ways to gain what you want from the universe. From screaming and crying at your mother and father, having a conversation with your teacher, to using a right path so that you could go to the bathroom, you have already started asking. You learn magic skillfully when you start experiencing what you want, and knowing what you don't. When you recognize what you desire, you start thinking about the ways to achieve it, and something can come into your soul. Although, each way you allow as a possibility becomes a limitation, as we decide what is possible, and in this way we call for limitations too. If it seems impossible for you to receive that gift in a different manner, and so in fact, it becomes unacceptable. This is how your processes of thought and belief about the possibilities are the basic formula for magical creation. Magic K, manifestation and the law of attraction. Everyone creates realities based on their own personal viewpoints, experiences, and beliefs, etc. These beliefs are so dominant that they can create enticing or tempting realities over and over. The reality creation will bring people what they want. You just have to let the magic happen. It is already there. Love and profusion are there already and forever. Trust the positive, loudest sound from our inner world. There is a higher essence to everything. Sometimes you are in a land that has a heaviness that mutes energy. You can penetrate through it, no matter how black and threatening. It has really nothing to do with karma. But don't forget to hold it open. Prosperity can happen at any time. Is the law of attraction magic? Undoubtedly, yes and no. It really depends on how you employ the word magic. Most law of attraction gurus would say, no, the law of attraction is not magic, it is a natural law. You would suppose that their answer indicates that they don't know what magic is, they don't know what the news stands for. There are tons of natural laws, the law of gravity, Boyle's law, the second law of thermodynamics, and the law of attraction being just a few. A much older figure of the law of attraction is magic, sometimes spelt magic to distinguish it from stage magic. Aleister Crowley defined magic as the skill and art of causing change to take place in conformity with the will. That would also be a very good definition of the law of attraction. Change of consciousness. You pray, cast spells or anything you like can be considered as the law of attraction, but the real question is, how does it work? Well, there are two different things moving alone here. The first among the two explains part of success and fame people are achieving with this law may have a connection with quantum physics. Here the word may is used because nobody really knows this. We know that at the smallest subatomic level the particles of subatomic matter can be various hollow spaces at one time, what scientists called Planck's scale. It is difficult to accept, but is true. Even more strange about this is that they can't decide in which place it could be until they are found, then they click on their positions. It is named as the collapse of the wave, as given by scientists. The second method in which the magic works is worldlier. You are actually stating an intention whenever you say a prayer, cast a spell or apply the law of attraction. Our subconscious mind then fetches that intention. Only that's not magic. You say, that's psychology. You can say that magic has always been a type of psychology. An instance of misinterpreted perception of the sensory experience, that is illusion, is the earliest kind of applied psychology which is practical at the same time. Hags, and before them druids, and before them who knows who, were the earliest physiologists, long before Freud and his pals reinvented the wheel and worked it all respectable. We can be or do or have whatever we want. We simply need to believe we can, to give ourselves permission. Society has brainwashed us since birth to trust that we can't. And then all the wand-waving and other paraphernalia of the supernatural are just psychological tricks to make us believe we can. And when we think we can, we give ourselves permission and we can. We always could, we just needed reminding. We only needed to think once more. Having everything you desire is yours by right. It is your birthright. Permission slips, placebos, and conscious imagining. A placebo could be anything that seems real medical treatment, but actually isn't real. A placebo could be a pill, a shot, or some other kind of treatment that is not genuine. They all have a common thing, that they do not contain any active substance meant to influence health. For example, injecting yourself with a number of chemical elixirs in order to prevent disease would be considered magic, as would taking a pill to alleviate a symptom, or thinking that we have to consume certain foods or have a certain sum of money. They are charming because they are symbolic agreements we've drawn to each other, through which we create or let go of our agreed-upon limitations. We can cure ourselves or create profusion by allowing in the belief that such a thing is really possible. This requires a huge leap, both in self-worth and in religion. Then we consume a medicine, or inject ourselves with a shot of something, because we think it will help to heal us or to alleviate our state of disease or poverty, and it does, temporarily. That's the placebo effect. Then come the permission slips. The idea of a permission slip is that, every time we cannot step into our own worth, so we develop rituals that give us permission to behave. The idea of permission slips is that, we cannot easily step into our own worth, so we create rituals that give us permission to behave consequently. You have to perform the ritual, whether it has some spiritual procedure, or not eating gluten, give some money, donate some stuff, and these acts will then empower you to feel pleasant. What is known is that it is not only the ritual that has any inherited actions which extend your sense of gratitude to permit us to feel better temporarily. You surrender your permission slip to a higher authority in the sky and you allow yourself to release a restriction. When we start to get an inkling that we are the authority, that our inner selves are the federal agency, we can start to do away with permission slips and placebos. We can start to do away with magic. But, how? One way we can do this is through consciously, deliberately imagining who we would have to be, and how we would have to feel about ourselves, in order to be healed, fulfilled, fully creative, and detached. We have invested eons of human mental effort to make manifest the mindset that we are victims, that we cannot heal ourselves, that we cannot make our own abundance, that we are unworthy. We have created these limitations, which are not literal, through our own focus and purpose. Today is the time to reverse this momentum, and there appears to be a great deal of help available if we'll put in the effort to use our imaginations in a fresh direction. We can write our own permission slips. Just imagine what it would feel like to be totally relieved of the fear, any fear it could be, fear of loss, fear of chaos, or any other. It's not a situation in which you are pushing yourself to do something when you are afraid. It is like accepting that it doesn't exist and you are totally secure. You wake up from a nightmare and realize all that bad, nasty stuff was just a dream. Just imagine that feeling. You have to believe that you are no longer afraid, that you are safe. You can't wait to feel that feeling of being cared for and appreciated. And just imagine how that does feel like having all your beliefs come true. Yes, it can be real that your body will heal itself perfectly. You are worthy of being done with the suffering. What if it is all real and true and you say it every moment, every hour? It's so relaxing to read those sentences, but practically and mentally you bounce them off. We all have a hard time letting ourselves put a thought into something like this. The emotional arousal that comes with this type of elated imagining is what helps reprogram our bodies, our mental habits and our physical reality. But the mere routine of permitting ourselves to do this imagining, and invest some energy behind it, is the key. Everything lives in imagination first. Physical reality, the dream. Physical reality is your aspiration. Literally. Wholly is a dream, and all is real. Your dreams are real. The dream is a reality. It is altogether one and the same thing. The lone affair that makes it appear different in that way is the different definitions that you present to the different dreams. Physical reality, a dream with an instance of a misinterpreted perception of a sensory experience of closeness, to the prohibition of all other dreams consciously. That is what true reality is all about. It is not dissimilar to the dream reality, to which you let yourself to reconnect in your sleep state. Those are real scenarios, actual realities. Right away. When you wake up, you may not always understand the situations, the experience you had in the dream reality, literally the way it came out, because your outer concerned consciousness, in believing that this physical reality is nowadays the real reality, will select the symbols it is familiar with, to represent the incident you had as best as it can, in the non-physical reality. But actually it was represented to some degree as accurately as they can be. Only what your dreams are always representations of an actual experience. You are really engaged when you are daydreaming. Your lives do not end. They go on, in many different ways, in many expanded ways. The way you usually think of the idea of a dream, and the way you usually think of the idea of your physical life as being more real than the dream reality, can be revolved completely, 180 degrees. And when you wake up to your higher self, the act of heating up in physical reality is in many ways the act of a fate of yourself giving way back to catch some Z's. Isolating itself. Life itself has a limit. Restricting itself to a specific dream, with specific understandings, and specific social occasions and specific restrictions. Ordinarily, of which allow you to leave out that the dream reality is, where you actually were far more awake in many ways than you are in the physical reality in which you recollect you are promising and wide awake. Now, this is, as we have stated, the transformational age, and what this transformation means, that you are starting to wake up to the fact, that you have been dormant, in many different ways, when you recollect you are awake. You are today beginning to admit yourself to experience, that the dream reality and the physical reality are no longer on this hand, on that hand this or that. It is one and the same reality. They're one and the same. with slightly different definitions to how you leave yourself to see it. And then, what will be a consequence of your allowance is that you will literally start to live, physically live your aspirations. You will experience that physical reality as a dream and hence can be revived in whatever format you wish. Physical reality is really ductile, very pliable. Simply because your physical reality dream contains the belief that it is not, then you don't feel it as such in a conscious way even though you see it all the time. Every single moment of time, you are always now pay attention exclamation every single moment of time, which is also your creation, you are playing your entire physical universe over and over and over and or once more. Completely. Yes. The entire physical world. Yes. The infinite, unlimited entire physical world is dead at any given moment, a completely new world. That's how change happens. It is as if you possess, the analogy of the skeletons, the different frames upon a bowl of your movies. It just seems to be a fluidly continuous motion. Mobility is an illusion. Nothing really moves. Nothing blends in anywhere. Nothing comes from anywhere. The idea, of the physical channel's hand, going from here to here, is the refounding of different states of an entire universe to produce the delusion of a motion within that world. Recognize what this really means. It intends that at any given second, based upon whatever you have been taught to believe, is the definition your universe must be recreated in, that is the way your universe will be created, over and over again. As shortly as you understand, that you do not necessarily need to own all of the intervening bits in society to depart from this world, to this world, then you will speed matters up. Things will begin to move quickly, not because things are in the perception of actually running faster. They accelerate, because you are prolonging the time. You are creating a less discrete recreated universe in between universe A and universe B. You will merely not need multiple universes, it will be all in your heart. This is how to initiate, and accelerate, a reality shift. It's a vibrational shift. You will be capable of manifesting miraculous ideas, instantaneously as soon as you are entirely cognizant that the universe you are experiencing at any given moment is merely the universe as you set it to be in that moment, based upon what you think, without having to have anything to do with the universe that you believe you were previously of. You are also capable of delimiting it to be in that second. Then when you are willing to expand your definitions, when you are willing to remove the social systems, the habitual rituals, that you have been instructed to believe in so strongly in your society, when you are willing to replace these ideas, with a new belief systems, new perspectives and fresh degrees of thought, new definitions, your universe will be as expansive as the new definition you put upon it. Because all is vibration. The idea you are, is the vibration you impose upon the universe, and that is the reflection you get back. Totally based upon what you have been taught to conceive is the rumination that is most probably the reflection you can come back. Only your definitions create any limitation you think you know. You are unlimited creatures. I mean that literally and figuratively. We are not holding a simple philosophical discussion here, we are talking actual mechanics, real physics. The vibration you are is the reality you see. Change the vibration, change the definition, and change the reality. It truly is that simple. Immediately you know, that any so-called illusion of difficulty that you may have in allowing, notice that I did not say making your reality change, I pronounced, allowing your reality to change, only comes from the fact, that you have been instructed to conceive that it is hard to shift the reality you are in. Feeling that only makes the difficulty in the modification. Only a belief that it was possible. There is no such thing as an inherently difficult to alter position. It is no such thing. Variety is the only stable, constant in the cosmos. Things always change, when you allow them to, and cognize that if you are a certain vibration you will permit the change only in the commission of the vibration that you are, then all that you will ever see in your lifetime, are the reflections of any idea you are willing to boldly believe you can be, at any given instant. The dream, your reality. What are dreams? Dreams consist of a progression of images, sounds, thoughts, sensations and intuitions that happen unexpectedly in the mind during sleep. The justification of dreams is still not understood completely. This has been a topic of research for scientists for many years. Dreams consist of images, sensations, sounds, ticklings occurring around us. We observe colors, hear music, and feel many other sensations. We are aware of our bodies, we believe and rationalize, we feel love, hope, anger and all other emotions. We watch other people, both known and sometimes unknown, interacting with us and sharing their thoughts and words. In our imagination, it all seems to be really genuine, appears to be taking place out there in the universe. But when we wake up we realize that everything in that dream, even your own body, was an imaginative world of the brain, just a dream. The dissimilarity with waking awareness is that the portrait generated in the mind is based primarily on the sensations transmitted by the senses from our physical environment. This turns over our waking experience, a consistency not found in dreams. We don't immediately realize ourselves moving to a totally distinct location, having a conversation with someone we've never met before. We don't find ourselves flying mysteriously through the air. It is the persona is created in the mind when we are awake that has a direct connection with the world around us. Everyone's sleeping dreams are his/her personal business. It may be possible that whatever you are dreaming may have a little resemblance to what your partner lying next to you may be dreaming. It is same as the light reflected to your eye from a tree is same as that reflected to another person. The images created in your minds are, as far as we can tell, identical. You are likely to find yourself checking on everything right down to the finest details of the color and structure of a leaf or thorn. This confirms our assumption that we are experiencing reality as it is, available there, around us. Are dreams an enhancement of physical reality? You have lost almost 1/3 of your lifetime sleeping. It could be so interesting if dreams are real. Isn't it? Our understanding of a dream as just a dream has been realized to be a misconception of the nature of consciousness and physical reality. You just ignore how your mind holds everything together. Everything you know is a whirl of facts we presume in our mind. There exists a theory, that is the theory of everything, known as biocentrism. It makes you understand that time and outer space aren't actually as inflexible you think, but rather the instrument your mind uses to hold everything together. These tools are the key to awareness. During both dreams and waking hours, your mind disintegrates waves to bring forth a physical reality, crowded with a functioning body. You have the potential to mesmerize and experience sensations in a 3D universe. You allow yourself to release your dreams because you know they will stop when you wake up. The time span of the experience doesn't mean it has any basis in physical reality. Doubtlessly, you think that life is more definite because you sleep every day. Yes, it is a fact that you don't remember everything about your dreams as easily as when you are awake, but that doesn't make them less meaningful. An Alzheimer's patient may have a moderate memory of events, but that doesn't mean that their life is any less relevant. Or that people who take drugs don't have physical reality, even if the fourth-dimensional events they picture are distorted, or that they don't remember all of the issues when the drugs wear off. You also dismiss dreams as unreal because they are only active during sleep. But once you wake, you think they're unreal because they're associated with the neural activity in our brain? Certainly, the biophysical logic of consciousness, whether during a dream or waking hours, can always be traced backwards, whether to neurons or the Big Bang. But according to biocentrism, reality is a cognitive operation that involves your consciousness. In contrast to dreams, you take for granted the everyday world is only out there, and that you play no role in its visual aspect. You believe they're unalike. Yet experiments show exactly the opposite. Day-to-day reality is no more objective or observer-independent than dreams. It can be explained like this: When you see a particle go through the hollows, it carries like a bullet, passing through one hole or the other. Only if no one observes the particle, it demonstrates the behavior of a wave and can occur through both holes at the same time. This and other experiments tell you that unobserved particles exist only as waves of chance. The higher self. There is an aspect of ourselves that is hidden from sight, yet very substantial. This dimension of ourselves that is such an integral part of each and every one of us has been called many names. The higher self, the sacred self, the inner self, all these descriptions fall short of sufficiently describing what this dimension really is. Along with placing your highest and most sacred self comes an inner knowing that probably best describes this mysterious invisible aspect of ourselves. Throwing forth your highest self is at the heart of living a spiritual life and is the key to higher consciousness. What the majority of people don't understand is that there is likewise a very corporeal part to this elevated component of us. Our physical person, which includes our life circumstances, and other relationships, is the superficial expression of what is moving at an advanced level that is sifted through our egos. What I mean by that is, our higher self will communicate with us in a variety of ways, through insight, hunches, sudden, unanticipated life changes, etc. We may or may not opt to listen to or act on those communications. But in effect, it is our physical self that is the receiver of these messages, to some extent like a fax machine or a phone. If one opts to accept and follow that guidance, the strength is that one would become the physical expression of his or her divine self. If not, then the reverse is true to the varying degree at which one accepts and observes the celestial direction brought through from the higher self. And because our creator or higher self is an infinite continuation, our own potential is also infinite. It is important to recognize one really important concept. Every single one of us has an outline, a sort of celestial pattern that contains a wonderful amount of information. This model exists in each individual particle of our beings, corporeal and energetic. The measure of data that this outline carries is extraordinary, covering every surface of whom we are, what we are doing here, and every lifespan we've ever lived through, as well as all the potentialities of what we are planned to be. For many people the realization of their spiritual dimension never really dawns upon their awareness. It looks like our fascination with the physical universe has produced inside us a bias for that which we can experience with our senses, touch, hear, taste and flavor. The usual opinion is that what we can perceive is real and that the invisible is unreal. In fact, our scientific advances are revealing new truths about this invisible world to us all the time. With recent discoveries in the area of quantum physics, it is slowly dawning upon us that the invisible world is in fact the only thing that is truly substantial. Hence, many people think that church property is something that is to be set up outside of themselves and that God is someone they have to endure and ascertain in a building, on a mountain retreat or in some organization. The higher self, that invisible part of you, is nothing but the presence of God inside you. Deep within each and every one of us is that divine spark from whence we came. This invisible dimension of ourselves is related to a higher reality, to God. When you get in touch with it, you will find that there is a wisdom that is far larger than what survives in the realm of the physical and material world that's so dominated by rational thinking and analytical reflection. When you reconnect with your higher self, you reconnect with your source, you reconnect with God. Higher consciousness is a consciousness and an awareness of your higher self, and it is a spiritual awareness that exceeds the limitations of the physical simply because it is not confined to the physical world of perceptual experiences. This infinite world is available to you only when you commence to live from your highest self. Your higher self is not a tiny piece of you, but it is in fact you. The real you, at least. Everything around you that you can experience, touch and feel is constantly changing, but your higher self never ages. It's always been in there, looking out, quietly watching. You are a powerful spiritual being. You merely have to quiet your brain and look deep inside yourself to find out who you truly are. In the New Testament, Jesus underlined this great truth when he said, "Don't you know that ye are all gods?" More recently, an Indian saint was asked whether he was God. He responded by pronouncing, "Yes, I am. And so are you. The sole dispute between me and you is that I know it and you don't." The primary role of our higher self is to aid us in gaining admission to the information that exists within this model. In effect, she is that design incarnate. Any answer to whatever question we could ever ask, could be answered by the higher ego. Every problem can be puzzled out and every obstacle can be mastered. That is our internal voice, spirit leader, greatest ally, mother, father, our pattern, leisure manager, and so much more, all rolled into one very magnificent divining angel. It is not only an element of us, it is us at the center of our being. We only require becoming mindful of her and asking for help. The higher self is waiting for us to lean upon her and she will never leave us. Accessing your higher self. Maintain the vision of what you want and feel the vitality of its foundation. Understand that what is felt with powerful focus will be created. This is the law of life. Breathe in the beauty. Bask and luxuriate in the blissful resonance of the energetic field being created within us and close to us. With purpose and focus, vibrate your vision into the realm of creative activity. Draw, write, sing and dance all your beautiful dreams into manifestation. You are ever so close. Understand that what you have sought for lifetimes is already with you. It is simply a matter of opening yourself up to the gifts that have been yours since the outset. The vitality is strong and creativity flows easily and smoothly whilst relaxing in the blissful field. Love is calling you to plumb the depths. Discover, relax and let go. The you of name and human form will be experienced dispassionately as a wave of the spirit, connected with the cosmic ocean. Each breath will then be a constant reminder, an eternal pulse of the infinite connection. Breathe deeply and sense. It will be as though you have woken up from a deep sleep and all things will seem different and still intimate. Spirit is awakening and expressing through the body. It is spreading its wings of light through every nerve and cell. That energy is blissful, overwhelmingly powerful as it moves, wave after wave through the torso. Admit it to dance and show. Bask in the delectable moment that is infinite beauty and joy. And then get deeper yet. This is your work, your duty. Take care of your responsibilities, simply realize that your principal focus and work is with the spirit. Expansion of the heart will then happen naturally as you relax and allow the powerful spirit to move within. Here are the 3 levels. The higher self conceives. The physical brain receives. The personality mind perceives. That's about all it does. Any thought, any inspiration, any imagination you possess doesn't come from the physical mind portion of you, it comes from the higher self portion of you. The receiver, the brain interprets the mind into a vibe that the physical brain then perceives as a reflected reality. One more time because this is essential to interpret. You don't conceive of any ideas as a physical mind. That's not what the physical judgment is designed to do. It cannot create ideas. It alone can perceive the outcome of an idea from the higher self. Immediately this may sound at first somewhat limiting, but in fact it's very, very freeing because you can totally stop thinking. You can all stop believing you're in charge. You can all stop believing you have to think of everything. You can all stop thinking that you're the one running the ship. You're not, you are merely looking at the road. You're only seeing the path that you, the whole you is creating, but the reason you get into trouble, the reason you feel bewildered as a physical mind is because you've been taught to conceive that the physical mind is the one coming up with all this stuff and it's not. And then when you try to control it, it doesn't play because the physical brain is not projected to actually create those concepts. It is simply designed to perceive the essence of the origination of those concepts through the receiver, the physical mental capacity. Today, here's also what occurs, and again this is an important note. The physical brain cannot comprehend how something happens, it can only perceive how something occurred. One more time, it's a very important distinction, and I'll explain. The physical mind does not sustain the capability to comprehend how something happens, it can only perceive how something occurred. But because the physical mind thinks it's coming up with these things, it then takes what happened and assumes that that's how things happen, and it's not. It's just what passed that time. And it thinks, well, if I do that again, I can make this happen, I can make that happen. Immediately you might draw some degree of repetition of success with that philosophy, but it will never extend beyond the parameters of what you observed in that particular happenstance. Because what happened was designed to grant that particular thing to come to pass, and that particular thing doesn't necessarily involve the same constituents as something else. Hence, when you may require something else to pass off, when you may want to elaborate on what happened, you cannot employ the same ingredients that made that happen, because then all you do is repeat the cycle and wonder why you're not going any place. You begin to allow the connection to your own higher self to be the one that will earmark you to see the realness that occurs from the higher self, because the higher self is the solitary part of you that actually knows how things occur, because it's on the mountain top. It accepts the more liberal perspective, it can examine what's coming, it can orchestrate. You're in the valley as a physical being from the physical view, your perspective is somewhat limited, but the idea is it doesn't matter. Equally, we will discuss and point out, and as many of you have found out in The Secret, all you actually must do, to apply the analogy they use, of forcing your car, is to ensure the road just a few hundred feet before. You don't have to pick up the road all the way from your beginning to your destination. That's the higher self's point of perspective. Then you don't have to cognize just how you're working to go thither. All you need to know as the physical side of the personality mind is where you're at right now. The higher self will tell you, keep blending in, turn left, turn right, you're dying to go there, it's quicker this way, you're going to go the faster that way. You need to quit for today, you need to rest, you need to consider a bathroom break, then get back in your car and continue moving. That comes from the higher self portion of the total being that you are as a person, as a soul, but the physical mind aspect of the personality does not possess the capability to realize how things fall out. Then give up trying to calculate it out, because you never will as a physical person, only as a higher self-expression. When you are in communication and allowing that communication to occur, will you then be able to assume the advantage of knowing how it's starting to occur. But the physical mind will not recognize how it's failing to take place. This is using the invisible to your advantage, and this is why you sing about such things as, well, you just have to accept through faith. No, you don't. It's really about experiencing and realizing the nature of your actual existence, understanding the structure of the relationship, understanding how it is you have arranged yourself as a consciousness, and then simply using it in the same way that you use a telephone, a light switch, or whatever other gimmick. It's just a matter of realizing the nature of it, and then taking advantage of using the nature of it and using the force of the invisible, because it's very, very strong. Simply because your physical mind can't perceive it, it can't perceive the how of it and how all of this is happening, doesn't mean it cannot gain the benefit of how it's all falling out. Merely in order to genuinely answer that as fully as you possibly can, you must dismiss the statement and the premise that the physical brain needs to know how everything works. Because it never, ever will. It's not designed to. And this permits you to lighten up your load. Stop carrying so much luggage, stop trying to do your higher self's job and simply create your own. That's why so many of you are so fatigued when you are straining to execute certain things in a certain way. It's because you're attempting to do a job you weren't designed to manage. That's just exhausting. Block, you were not chartered to do that job. Your higher self already has the business and it's working for you perfectly. Work with it, not against it, by trying to do the job it was projected to serve. Just do the task you were designed to do, which is perceiving what has passed, and let yourself to know, To know what has happened can be used by you to your advantage by maintaining positive meaning from your belief system into it. Allowing yourself to answer that as a physical mind is what will keep the communication lines open, acting on your passion, acting along your excitement, always putting positive meaning into whatever happens is what will hold the seams open to your higher self to receive the communication, to know that you can get hold of the next step and the next step and the next step and the succeeding one. Because whatever it is that does happen will always permit you to consider the next step no matter what it is, as long as you link to it in the appropriate manner as a physical mind and don't try to relate to it in an inappropriate way as a higher mind yourself. Allow the higher mind come through you and refer to it, but don't attempt to cause the higher mind's job for it. It will always be difficult for you to do because you're not designed to do that. Manifestation, mechanically speaking. As you have read earlier, what is manifestation? Now we will discuss what the mechanics of manifestation are. There are different levels on which man's consciousness performs. The way in which an individual perceives and elucidates life depends on which of these levels or combinations of levels prevails in forming the basic attitude and intention. The principle of manifestation is basic to all levels of life, but how the mechanics of manifestation are approached and utilized depends on the person's consciousness. 3 key elements to the mechanics of manifestation. Held clearly in mind and begin with an end result. This is the key to the mechanics of manifestation. It's also the one most difficult to conclude. It is important that manifestation must be felt in the mind's eye before the physical eye. The thing that has to be taken care is that most of us have a mindset of, I'll consider it when I see it. Manifestation occurs just the opposite of this. To apply the law of attraction to your anything, you'll need to accept the manifestation mindset of, I'll see it when I believe it. Physical action should be taken in the universal direction of your manifestation. Manifestation takes place when you take physical action in preparation of the manifestation instead of falling into the conditioned mind trap of waiting to embrace. We must understand that the progress must be felt invisible to the physical eyes. You may get little clues that manifestation is occurring. However, most people don't think any progress is occurring when evidence of what they want does not manifest quickly. Now that you know the mechanics behind how the law of attraction works, you can confidently apply it to your life. Keep the 3 key elements to the mechanics of manifestation firmly in mind. The idea of manifestation is not fetching something that doesn't exist into existence, or luring something from over there and bringing it over here. The idea is that what you desire to manifest is already here, already existing, already real. Manifestation is the process of giving you the ability to realize, to perceive that it is already present. It is not like that you have to do some magical or extraordinary thing to make it come into reality. It already exists, it is already present within your domain of reality. It is just that your belief system is making that invisible to you. So manifestation is not the process of actually magically taking out something out of nothing, it is the process of making the invisible visible, and that simply requires an alteration of perception. That's all it takes. The idea of one of the mechanisms of manifestation that allows the invisible to become visible is something that uses the power of contradiction very strongly. We often talk about the idea of a paradox as the recognition that you are in a very powerful place right in the center of your power. Because what to you may seem paradoxical, what to you may seem contradictory, to opposing ideas that cannot, necessarily, seem to coexist, but actually they do coexist, coming from the ground and telling you the right thing. And those middle grounds, that balance point is your place of power from which you have produced the apparently paradoxical and apparently contradictory concepts. But because you can perceive them both tells you, just the perception of those things alone, tells you, that you are actually in the center of those things. That they come from the center of your being. And that you are simply seeing reflections of the polarity expressions of the polarity of creation. but the polarity within you combines and interacts in a very specific way to generate your true perfect place of balance, and the perfect place of power. So when you see a paradox, rejoice, because it is telling you that you are standing right in the center of your creative self and have the ability to, thus, then, manifest and transform and make the invisible visible very quickly. It's the power of the paradox. Let us explain a little bit more clearly about the paradoxical nature of the mechanism of manifestation. Many of you have been taught to think about the idea of manifestation as an issue of intention, as an issue of focus, as an issue of concentration, and in a sense this is accurate. However, a very important point is often left out, or at the very least sometimes this point is spoken of independently and so no connection is made to the idea as a whole concept. The three seemingly paradoxical issues here are intention, focus and concentration. And conversely, on the other side, what you have often heard from many metaphysical and New Age information sources, the idea of surrender and letting go. These two things are not diametrically opposed, they are not mutually exclusive, and they work together in a whole mechanism. In other words, the secret, one direction of the paradoxical mechanism is the idea of intention, focus and concentration. And then, after that has been done, letting go and surrendering, and letting the intention, focus, and concentration do their job on higher levels. Working with these two things, linking these two things together gives you the entire mechanism of manifestation of at least one direction of the energy. We will discuss the other direction in a moment. The intention, the focus, in a sense, the concentration is there if that is representative of your passion. Because when something is representative of your passion, you are automatically focused on it. You automatically intend it. You are automatically concentrating all of your attention on that idea because that is what passion does. If you are passionate about something, there is no other choice. There is no other consideration, all other things fall by the wayside. That is a true description of the idea of being in your passion. There simply is no other choice. So there is automatic focus, automatic intention. If then, in what you call a peaceful state, a meditative state, or a focused state, you allow yourself to image that passionate idea, that manifestation that is desired, and feel it and build that energy up in your energy, in your emotions, in your passion. You see, physical reality, while apparently complicated at times, is actually not extremely complex. In a sense, it is actually built on very simple principles, and you don't actually have to do very much to get the ball rolling. Your physical mind, as we have said a few times, is not designed to understand how things are going to happen, how things are going to manifest. This is the purview of the higher mind, and because the physical mind does not actually have the capacity, the capability to understand, it is not designed to understand how that is going to happen. All it needs to do is flip the switch and let the higher mind do the how, do the things that are necessary to cause the synchronicities in your life that need to be there, and the downloads and inspiration that needs to come to you to allow the invisible to become visible, to allow the manifestation to occur. So all you need to do is do it a little bit, for no longer than 15 minutes. Bring that up to a full peak of passion, a full peak of imagination, a full peak of visualization, however it is that you wish to do it, with that intensity, that concentration and that focus, and then utterly let that go. Now we understated, again, that because of certain negative beliefs, many of you find it difficult to actually let it go. But that is very important, because without the letting go side you don't actually have the whole mechanism engaged. It is important to understand that the intensity, focus and concentration must be paired with the surrendering and the letting go to actually have the whole mechanism of manifestation. This is using the power of paradox built into this idea, to this process, to this permission slip. Letting go means you really know that the higher mind is doing its job and you can now relax. The physical mind can relax. It doesn't need to do anything else, it can relax. It is not required, nor is it capable of doing anything else. So, Really, when you know this, you can allow your mind, your physical mind, to just let it go, knowing it is in good hands, in a sense, and get on about your day focusing on the next most exciting thing you are capable of taking action on. At the same time, again, you must be clear, as we have already said, about your motivations, to ensure that what it is that you are focusing on, what it is you are surrendering to, is truly representative of your highest passion, instead of something that is simply being labeled as such to actually act as an avoidance of what your highest passion actually could be. This is where you have to be really clear, again, about the idea of what beliefs you are dealing with, because many of you often fool yourselves, and trick yourselves, through the negative belief system into thinking that you are acting on your excitement, when in fact, you are actually acting out of anxiety, and covering it up because you are afraid to look at the idea of what it is that actually does excite you because of all the negative beliefs you've attached to it. So cleaning out your motivational mechanism, finding out what beliefs you have attached to it, is the primary and fundamental process that is required in order to actually use the tool of manifestation in a clear, concise and precise manner. Once you have your motivation clear and you know that what you are focusing on is truly representative of your passion, then you will find that this mechanism of manifestation works very, very strongly, and very well, and often very rapidly. But the idea, again, is that you cannot worry it there, you cannot make it happen, you cannot insist that it takes place at a certain time and in a certain manner, because then you are, once again, setting conditions on it. You are not allowing yourself to really let it go, you are not allowed the higher mind to do its business. You are actually stopping the total process by keeping, in a sense, the mastery, or trying to keep control of the state of affairs within the physical kingdom. And the physical realm is not projected to handle energy in that direction. It does not have the power, it does not suffer the capacity, to do the job of the higher self. It just doesn't function in physical reality that way. It would be as if you dove down under the sea with your breathing apparatus, and then instead of allowing yourself to rise to the surface and taking your mask off, taking your breathing apparatus off and taking a deep breath up to go back into that realm, it is as if you are insisting by trying to control it in physical reality. It is as if you are taking off your mask, taking off your breathing apparatus underwater and inhaling and wondering why you start choking, and wondering why you cannot see that far anymore, why things are suddenly murky and muddy, and why you are suddenly drowning. The idea is you must allow yourself, your whole self, to participate in this idea of creation of your reality. And you are not a whole self, you are not a whole person unless you allow the physical mind and the higher mind to work in concert. We know that many of you have been taught to think that the idea of the higher mind, being that it is non-physical, is somehow not really a part of who you are as a person, it's something else, somewhere else, on another plane, on another level, and has nothing to do with what you are supposed to be doing as a personality, in terms of guiding yourself through life, but that is not the case. So, the idea of the power of paradox in this manifestation mechanism is also working in the opposite direction, for as you allow yourself to have the intensity of focus on your highest passion, and you allow that energy to build up to a pinpoint, a white-hot pinpoint of concentrated focus and imagery and energy and emotional feeling, bringing it to that fever pitch, and then, as you let it go, the idea that is moving in the opposite direction is the issue of concentration and expansion. The idea here is that as you actually concentrate, in a sense, as you bring things down to a pinpoint, you're actually raising the frequency, and actually expanding the frequency of your energy by focusing it down to such a small focus, a small passionate pinpoint. You are actually expanding your energy, in a sense, building it up, in that sense, reaching out, letting it expand, because you are now focused solely on your passion, more in alignment with your true core natural self. So your energy will expand as you let go, and the energy then collapses back to your physical self. But as it has done so, it is similar to what physicists call collapse of the waveform. What this means is, As you focus and as you concentrate and as you expand and expand and expand your energy bubble, you are containing all probable ways of manifestation that could occur, that are best for you. You are expanding your probability net, and as soon as you then surrender and let it go, and that energy bubble collapses back down to your immediate reality, you are allowing the bubble to then automatically choose the highest probabilities that will actually help you bring the manifestation into your awareness. Jesus was a metaphysician? No way. Yes, you are. Jesus' teachings. The Gospel of Luke has a passage which deals with the way that Jesus taught his followers to pray. He said, "Ask, and it shall be committed, seek and it shall be subject unto you. For every one that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be spread out." In the Gospel of John, the Sermon of the Vine and the Branches were offered by Jesus. There is a passage in that sermon in which Jesus had quoted, "If you follow me, and my words will follow you, you shall ask what you will, and it shall be answered unto you." Jesus had so many examples to show how to love wholly, relinquish much, have beliefs that all matters are possible when your own power is inclined towards God, and pray often with an essence of gratitude. That craving for the divine has recognized a kind of sensation in the spirits of Christian saints from the past days of the Church. Certainly, the impression of the Godhead in the physical universe is represented by the infinite reflections of divine love. Jesus showed people how to be whole. Jesus performed as a spiritual beam. His words were, "I have come as a light into the earth." He explained that whosoever believeth in me should not suffer in the darkness. He also served as an example of how the power of God works through the human heart and mind. Jesus also accomplished many miracles that apparently flouted the natural laws of the universe. Jesus emphasized having faith in God's ability to bring about a peculiar outcome. He never told people that his faith had healed them, but later they realized that their own religion had made them strong. The key was the strength of their own mind. The law of attraction emphasized that a precise imagination of what you desire inclined in coordination with the source, combined with the faith and fascinated by the thoughts and then attracts the result. This is how this works. Christ taught that pristine belief casts out any kind of fear. Restrained faiths are often drawn more merely as fear. To get to be rid of your internal fear if you want to have true faith. Fear and faith cannot dominate the same place in your soul. The law of attraction works in the interest of both spiritual desires and worldly affairs. Christianity emphasizes total submission of one's will to the volition of God. Christian mystics have realized how the engines of both belief and faith can combine with the spiritual self and in integration with its source. Some claimed that through holy elegance, they have steeped spiritual domain and moved closer to God. All religions have the paranormal powers, earned knowledge, and realized truth through an internal consciousness. It is not obvious that all religious mystical experiences are satisfying. That's going to be too superficial a way of describing spiritualism. That would be too facile a way of defining spiritualism. However, the impression that the religious have advantages from the time they devoted in a metaphysical state has somewhat enabled them to create from desires that are purely spiritual, providing support to others. This can be proved by contemplating the amount of money Mother Teresa raised in her life. Moreover, Christians believe that endless atonement could be saved by Jesus as the Son of God and liberator of mankind. Jesus suggested that the God fulfills all the wishes of his children. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God does know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing full and malevolent. Christians think that everlasting redemption is secured by acceptance of Jesus as the Son of God and the Savior of mankind. Jesus advised that God recognizes all the demands of his children. Contradicting Christian beliefs. There had always been a contradiction between many Christians, whether the law of attraction favors their beliefs or not. Two different opinions exist. Those who were against this law stressed on the thought that when people believe they can develop their life through their own terms and desires, they got away from the God as creator and perform self-adoration. There are some people who feel strongly that only God has the power to perform miracles and can help to manifest their beliefs. Some deeply devoted Christians thought that developing a spirit which will be admirable and that the credit should be given to the Lord. Others believe that God's ways are secret and mysterious and that the law of attraction may be a magical mechanism to help people get what they desire, adding spiritually enthralled souls closer to God. Pursuing wealth or poverty. Religious people may need to use bond of poverty rather than a bond of riches, which is a materialistic approach. Deeply spiritual people have always been standardized with poverty, whereas the pursuit of wealth has been deemed a self-obsessed want for material possessions instead of the heart. The law of attraction is indifferent. It gives you what you perceive and makes you feel worthy. When you open yourself up to increased happiness in your life, you are recalling the abundance of the holy intelligence within you. It is only you who can make the difference. Even after all this, you still seek poverty, accordingly you make it with the help of law of attraction. Counselors of the law of attraction say it is up to you to choose. Christians recommend executing the law of attraction in people's lives. God helps those who help themselves. They claim that everyone in this universe has a strong tool for creation, and there are some who don't use it, and in this way they waste their divine God-given gift. The following outlines the teachings of Jesus, and you can use them as a fast mental check to ensure your approach towards the law of attraction. Your focus must be open and not cluttered with excess promotion or concern for daily problems. Check if all of your needs and wishes have already been ripe for harvest or not. Your vision must be clear, open and related to your aim. A focused decision is a last decision, and what you perceive in your inner world determines your outer world. Believe that the province of heaven and happiness has always been there, within you. Empower the internal spark of your actual character and make that apparent in the universe. You are as pristine as the universe. You just need to understand it. The basic essentials of life are not to be worried about, they are already present. Cherish the abundance that is freely given to all. The universe knows about your requirements and has provided thusly. You must draw a kingdom within yourself that has no limitations. There is a part of you which knows what you want, and in the all your beliefs are achieved very quickly. Each and everything in your imagination is a result of your emotions and beliefs. This is known as the law of liability. Opposition of this may lead to closing the doors of the domain within. You cannot help to establish your wishes if your vision has even a little tinge of fear and believes in the insufficiency of the universe. If you are not satisfied within, you will not change what you discern to be without. It is important to align your sentiments, assurance and belief in the same place. Otherwise, your mind will collapse. You have to know your inner conviction to make it happen. The world is the same as you believe it to be. Examine your life if you want to know how you actually feel. When you make an inner belief very strongly and fully focused, you make the magnet attract the positive energy. Be cautious of the beliefs and thoughts that you allocate in your mind. Smash all your fears. They pull what you are afraid of to you. There is nothing outside that can harm you. Only negative beliefs can. It is only what you carry from the understanding of your emotions, intentions and thoughts that inspire a nasty impact on your life. There is a huge dissimilarity between information and knowing. The word impossible doesn't exist. Door to the kingdom of heaven will be opened if you ask, seek, and knock. What you have received, what you have destroyed, or the barriers that have been cleared are of your own doing. If you look for the truth of your internal existence, all that you require and desire will be evident in your life. There is always an inside voice of encouragement and inspiration to be discovered. Desire in a right way what you want. Your rewards will be received in this life. There is nothing you get in afterlife. There is no separation between you, God, Jesus and the entire universe. Ask, believe, receive, give gratitude and distribute. Change yourself, not others. The way to the kingdom is through your own internal ego and not through any individual, including Jesus. He is the way, which means that the inner self is the threshold. You can only change yourself, not others. The sacred affirmation. The most powerful thing we all have is the power of the sacred affirmation I am. Let's give a thought about what we think about ourselves. Well, this is something we never thought of earlier. What we say about ourselves, and think about ourselves is what creates us. Every sound we utter sends out an energy, or prayer, that helps in creating the world we desire. With every sentence we speak, we are actually improving or destroying our health, relationships, finances, etc. This is the power of the word. Throughout our life we are going through a process that has created a mindset overflowing with I am not. This started during childhood. You have all experienced this. When you got lower grades on your report card, you said to yourself, I am not intelligent. You compared yourself with a celebrity and thought, I am not appealing. You have thoughts for your relationships, I am not loved, or I am not worthy. These thoughts, and many more like them, are echoed throughout our growing years and into adulthood, and become your defining self-beliefs. The I am not concept should be overcome. This can be achieved by believing, having faith in your inner world of spirit. It should be noted that there is nothing in the universe that can restrict your inner world. It is a myth which you all have in your mind. Your worldview and your self-beliefs in the outer world are explained by 5 senses. The outer world is always changing, this means it is not actual. This consciousness that what remains unchanging is the only true thing could lead you to confronting a marvelous wake-up call right there. Go through as large a checklist as you can of the things that you would wish to fix in your life. Then create the switch in your imagination from an I am not or I believe to become until I am. Starting with your internal dialogue, merely alter the thoughts, words that determine your concept of the inner self. Redefine your inner self concept by choosing the language that you use to invest in your vision. This rewording of your inner self should be tried as an initial step to access the support of your higher self and to start living up to your own terms and desires. I am not capable of being hired for a job should be changed until I am capable. Likewise, replace the statement of I am not able to dwell in peace with I am okay. I am not lucky in love is replaced by I am passionate. I am unworthy of happiness becomes I am happy. The words I am, which you utilize most of the time to define who you are and what you are capable of, or a holy declaration in the name of God, the highest appearance of yourself. We have to break his habit of dishonoring this divine. We have to stop using this disapproving label which throws slurs on your pure, holy self. Constantly keep your very first consideration the honoring of your divine and pure spirit. This helps you to rise to heights that were previously unimagined. It is important that you instruct your outer self to appreciate and give gratitude to the abundant power of your inner self, and the thoughts that you place in your imagination become lawful for you. I am. These 2 words can improve your life. These words tell every part of you, your personality, your ego, your subconscious, your self-confidence, your spirit, who you truly are. They define who you are. You have to be careful about what you put behind those words. The other very important aspect of Conscious Dictionary is the law of focus. It states that whatever reality we place our focus on, is the one we are creating. Thus we all need to focus on the positive things, the things we desire, rather than the negative thoughts we don't ever want. For example, when we focus on not aging, that ensures that you will age, and very quickly too. Instead, focus on being healthy, youthful and vibrant. The most important part to be given importance is that the negative vocabulary should be eliminated from our language and our thoughts. Even a little tinge of negativity in a word ruins everything. When we use the word effortless, we actually draw our attention to efforts. It means that what you aspire to get is an effortless process. It then draws your subconscious mind to ask for the thing you want, and that thing comes to you with no difficulty, that is effortlessly, easy. Same thing happens when we use words limitless. It actually drew the subconscious mind to focus on the limits. This is something we don't want. So the positive word should be used like limitless abundance, that places the limits on the abundance. Review your own assertions and the words you say out loud or just to yourself and see how positive you are actually being. Power of choice. Having the power of choice means to take action, break the cycle and remove those limiting beliefs. We pick out what we think about ourselves. It is natural that we all want to improve our current situation, achieve what we want and have more freedom and happiness. It's been seen that the people who have achieved everything they have ever dreamt of being the important characteristic of using their positive attitude and strong I am statements. You are the one who is the co-creator of your credibility, and you have to visualize it, to assure it, why this I am statement is so purposeful. If we set our focus to it, we will realize that our society is mostly crowded with negative energy. Focusing your attention towards the positive makes you realize that it too is overflowing, growing, increasing. It simply depends on the inclination of our attention. Redefining your I am. The transformation of your life is possible by consciously utilizing the power of I am. This power is not something which works for some and won't work for others. It works when you work it. The interesting thing about this is that once you have started using it as a conscious habit, after some time it alters into an unconscious habit. In this way you have retrained yourself. You just have to make it daily habit. Your intentions must be to proceed deeper and discover those negative, terrible words, thoughts you have held over yourself, those words which no longer serve you, and convert them to better thoughts. The negative language and opinions are those instructions that you think, and that will decide who you are, also experienced as the you are what you suppose people believe you a learning ability. You are not what others think about you, you are what you create yourself to be. You are who you believe to be. We all have been in a situation where we didn't get something or become something, and we lay the blame on our society, family, past experiences or childhood for holding us back. That's not right. There is nothing holding you back. You can figure everything and make changes by just taking a few minutes out of your day. Write down some limiting convictions of yourself that come to mind. It's time to supersede them with the faith that you would like to have about yourself. Your ultimate goal is to retrain your mind and your subconscious, reprogramming your brain to accept better, more genuine and positive beliefs. You have infinite power and creativity. Your inner world is always aware of this. I am assertions just affirm the truth of your nature. You are all truly powerful beings at heart. Remember that you are capable of doing anything you desire, just go for it. The top secret. Pronunciation of I am from your mouth, produces the presence of God within you. I am defines life, pure being, life, awareness, self-confidence, self-originating spirit, what lies inside you. In other words, it is an unknown fact that people don't know that when they say I am, they are proclaiming the presence of God within them. The word Om is one of the words being chanted for the mantra. It means an instrument of thought in Sanskrit. I am is the fact of existence. The power of choice involves directing our attention. When we put our attention on something, it determines what we are consciously sympathizing with. That is the potential of choice making. Whatever you choose, you are saying yes to, agreeing to identify with it and to know it. In choosing happiness, to align and discovering the truth of your being, we experience that this all happens due to your focus on happiness. You are consciously focusing on love, strength and truth. On the other hand, in putting your attention on the past and self-concepts that are filled with negative thoughts, you identify yourself with a negative, nasty part instead of being one with the pristine presence. In short, the power of choice gives us the favorable choice to explore, reveal and choose possible availabilities and possibilities in your life. The power of choice empowers you to. Keen understanding and approval of yourself and others should be realized. Let go of the ways that diminish the accomplishments of your potential and be aware. Access your power with bravery, faith, confidence and coherence. Learn to choose empowering directions in your life. Learn to consider all the endless possibilities that occur with the growth of personal and professional relationships. Cherish the spark, happiness and passion that comes with acknowledging who you are and what you wish. Obtain a master plan for excellence which will aid you in acquiring the necessary activity to reach your ends. The first step in establishing how to be happy is to ultimately choose happiness. No matter what, you should be glad. No matter what situation you face today or you have faced yesterday, will not stop you from being delighted. You will be delighted about everything, even if it is something minute. You should pay attention to that minute thing and should turn your radio to that station and wait for the constructive experience to grow in that direction. Your emotional state will tell you what you are choosing. We all have an emotional feedback system which helps us to find out immediately how we are utilizing our power of choice. Sometimes we find ourselves confused in a loop of negative emotions. Actually at that time we are recognized with being a separate, incomplete body/brain. It can also work in another way, such as when you turn your attention to the precision of what you are, that is pure presence, and then you automatically start feeling a sensation of rest, period. The more you shift focus to this presence of what you are, the more you feel calm, joy, peace. Our spirits will always tell us where we endure. They act like a built-in feedback system, which at times lets you know if you are moving toward well-being or away from it. Shifting allegiance to peace. The origins of our beliefs in being a separate body/mind are tied into control. Since your birth, you've been trained to think that if you could just control enough things during your lifetime, you would be pleased. Your mindset keeps that feeling alive in the core of your heart, which causes all the troubles in the first place. I am a separate part. With that belief comes the persuasion of not having enough, and not being enough. Therefore, this is the point where you struggle to influence your experiences in a procedure which can help you to reach something you believe will complete you. Amusingly, that whole mindset and the resulting chasing around to find happiness is actually the suffering. When you recognize yourself as a pristine presence, your life shifts to a more peaceful state. To help transfer our allegiance from suffering to public security, there are some serious questions we can take ourselves. Has trying to control my life and build it the way I want it to be ever helped me to find the solution I am looking for? Has doing that ever helped anything? Has it ever progressed to make me permanently happy when I do get what I require? How do I feel when I'm attempting to hold on to things? If you want honest answers to these questions, you must first be willing to not know. We all have an ego mind that believes it knows the truth. Thus, if you want to hear your deepest voice coming from our inner world, you have to be willing to open your mind to hear it. Through this investigative/questioning process, you will be able to experience your unconscious beliefs and the thoughts that will gradually come into your conscious awareness and can realize how they cause you suffering. You'll observe that they feel compact and minute. As you embrace whatever is arising within you with love, everything fake will fall away. Holy shift! We are surviving in this world where there are so many obvious changes and shifts along the planet through various weather disturbances, war movements and many more throughout the world, combined with the inner uncertainty. It is absolutely true that still many of us are aware up to something beyond greatness lies within. You possibly, too, have had some experiences that are unexplained and had a paranormal, time travel, out of the soul incidents, and you wish there was some place to get some explanations. Following is a brief explanation of what is called a parallel reality. Now we would like to put your attention on the parallel realities and the influence they have on your reality. It is possibly difficult for many of you to believe that parallel realities exist. Yes, there are parallel realities and you can use them to your benefit. Firstly, Recognize that there is an infinite act of parallel realities being played out simultaneously alongside your own reality. Because you exist in a cosmos that is founded on a preconceived belief of linear activity, you also were instructed to think that you are on just one solid timeline your whole lives. One event is followed by another and so on. However, this is not so. You are always passing over from one timeline to the next many times throughout the daytime. The vibration which you decide to resonate at will determine which reality you will experience. But know that every conclusion that you perhaps could make always plays out in infinite ways. Each you believes that it is the real you and all of the others are simply just possibilities. This genuinely causes no difference as your psyche is constantly mindful of the infinite variations of reality which you are concurrently experiencing. There are an infinite amount of parallel universes or alternative realities the soul explores in the programs of its experience which are self-contained separately and coexist within the bigger plan. A specific group of parallel worlds is called a multiverse, although this term can also be employed to identify the possible parallel worlds that comprise physical reality. While the terms, parallel universe, and alternative reality, are generally synonymous and can be employed interchangeably in most instances, there is sometimes an additional connotation implied, with the term, alternative reality, that entails that dullness is a variant of our own. The term, parallel universe, means involving a relationship with our inner self, without any intimation. You can use parallel realities to your advantage now that you are aware of their existence. Recognize that if you want to modify your life, whether it is a small modification or a very big one, the reality in which you have attained your desired outcome already exists. Then all you have to do is align with that version of reality in which you have achieved your goals. You are creator beings and every bit you start to consciously partake in creating your reality, the experiences which you can have are boundless. This is when you truly start to have some fun. Recall that everything is done through the power of energy and everything vibrates at a specific frequency. In order to line up with that experience we must vibrate with the same frequency. It's exactly like your tuner. You must tune into the correct frequency or channel in order to pick up your desired music station. You cannot see anything that you do not receive a similar vibration to. If you do not desire to continue receiving a special condition in your reality, then it's time to change the channel. The metaphysics of shifting realities, or shifting to moments. Live spontaneously from moment to moment, being fully available, without any predictions whatsoever, because the present is all that is. You are a different person from moment to moment. You are not the you that was here a second ago, literally. You are constantly shifting through multiple realities as if they were side by side. This is why they call them parallel realities. We shift through these nows creating movement and time in our 3D reality. Parallel realities are absolutely numb. Nows are complete still frames that we are shifting through very fast. This can be understood by comparing it to a film reel. All the frames are motionless and as the reel rotates fast across the projection light onto a sieve, it produces the appearance of movement along the screen though all the slides are completely all the same. In that placement are endless parallel realities like slides in infinite ways. Anything you can imagine is a possibility. All are arranged as if on a table in front of you. You put them all together into the succession that you are experiencing as your perspective. It seems fluid but really is not. Parallel realities going from one to the next are what produce the delusion of time that we all experience. According to Basher, you sift through billions of parallel realities per second. Any slide your consciousness focuses in on is your experience of the moment. You are forever shifting. It's actually impossible to not shift, yet, even if you are perfectly still you are still shifting through parallel realities. Declaration to shift is not necessary, it's how you walk across the room, shifting through the realities, like a picture show is rolling. How you shift, what you shift, merely depends upon your viewpoint about yourself and the universe. You unconsciously choose your reality based on your feelings or feeling systems. You absolutely have to believe in something in order to go through an experience. You believe that you're sitting behind a computer. You believe that you're typing words. If you didn't assume that, then you would not be able to present this experience. You shift to the actuality of your choosing according to what you believe about yourself and what you believe about the world. Most creations are living according to negative beliefs. If you commiserate about the past or if you opine about the time to come, then you are losing out on the straightaway. You are a completely different person, but you agree to tie the moments together through your belief systems. If you convey the past into the now, you will scarcely realize more of the past situation. The past will continue to acknowledge itself in the present. Then pursue your joy to construct your reality better all at one time. We all exist in individual realities with certain opinions or belief systems that are on an individual point, and some feelings are along a mass awareness level. Even though shifting is on an independent level, on that point are also collective beliefs that you must, for the most part, execute, like gravity. These are thoughts that usually stay in place to exist in the template of physical reality. We are all distributing ideas that make the shift seem like a group effort, but it is in fact an individualistic enterprise. Everyone is in their own subjective realities. When other people interact with you, they are actually interacting with themselves using the idea of you in their reality. Only you experience this, that is your parallel reality. What they are seeing is a parallel reality that you are not receiving. When someone experiences you, they are creating their reality with the idea of what they perceive you to be. You also encounter parallel realities that they do not comprehend. What you think, you become, says the Buddha, and this is richer than we normally see. Your thoughts are your reality, what you're experiencing in this here and straight off. If you care about this world and how people are sustained and that there is an absolute dire need to help others, you are practically saying that they will be left behind somehow, unremembered by God, or not actually a genuine segment of all that is. This may be a difficult one to realize, but you don't even actually help anyone, not in the particular path we designate. They will get the help they need, regardless of whether you're the one to feed it or some other permission slip that they attract to themselves. But, you are a necessary voice in all that is. If they create a need for a permission slip with their belief systems, if they would need an alibi for them to allow them to push back their negative beliefs with positive ones, that is a role for you to play in the creation if your highest joy is to help others. For example, if I needed your assistance because I was shut outside of my mansion and you bore the keys, I would use my idea of you to help myself create a reality where I was helped by you to enter into my mansion. You would designate to be a co-creator with me, and you would be my tool or the permission slip I would engage to help myself. My communication with you is just a likeness of myself, and at the same time I am a reflection of you. This is all you. Not being absolutely required for something shouldn't cheapen or lessen the grandness of that experience or co-creation. You have a condition, everyone does, or they wouldn't be an integral part of all that is. For example, by letting go of negative beliefs that hold you back, you will be happier. Then when you connect to others with unconditional contagious love, it will strike them and spread out into their hearts. This energy of zeal to help others, once transformed, is very divine and moves faster. It speaks the tenuous heart language of consciousness, so it's far easier to be that permission slip to your friends. Since we are all inherently loving and secure, your highest joy will reflect that in some manner, shape or phase. From the perspective of spirit, or root, people won't be judged for what they do out of a negative belief system by anyone but themselves. Only your highest joy is in truth to spread love. Only someone out of the coalition would cause damage to others. We are all loving in our higher mind. If you perfect the science of sticking with your highest joy, it will include everything that you require to be your ideal reality. You are seeing yourself here from your oversoul, your higher mind. It is connected to everyone and everything. It's not bound by time. It is feeding you many possibilities to play out that ecstatic reality, but your feelings prevent you from being connected to your higher intellect. Switch to the definition you prefer by finding out what core beliefs are holding you back and by reconfiguring your neural net to function in a manner that doesn't reflect that grief. By following your true happiness, you will experience the reality you prefer by following your true highest excitement from moment to moment. Do whatever works for you. If you are drawn in concentration, then meditate. If you love animals, then play with them. If you love to express and write, whatever you love to do will be your teacher, your muse. It will be the joy and delight of shifting to pleasant realities. Whatever instrument is merely a projection, a direction to bridge you to your joy, an approval slip for you to choose to shift with a greater point of deviation in the way of your felicity. See, manifesting shouldn't be instantaneous, that would bore. The tingle of the chase, conflict, is all a part of the play. You cannot fail, you cannot disappoint, this is your reality and every moment is fleeting. The emotional state doesn't hold regret, everything is ever fresh, ever shifting, and there is no need for looking behind because the now is all that is. Looking behind is what keeps us choosing the past instead of the hereafter. Chakras demystified, remetaphysicalized. Chakras are the energy centers in our body through which energies flow. They start from the base of the spinal column and finish at the upper side of the brain. Though situated in the central spinal column, they are situated on both the front and rear of the body, and work through it. They make our light body. They are the vibration within us, that correlates to the perceived and experiential vibrations outside of us. Each chakra vibrates or rotates at a different velocity. The base or first chakra rotates at the slowest speed, the crown or seventh chakra at the highest speed. The chakra colors are of the rainbow: red, orange, yellowish, immature, blue, indigo, and violet. The size and brightness of the cycles vary with individual development, that is physical shape, energy levels, disease, or elocution. It is known that if the chakras are not balanced, or if the energies are choked, the basic life force will be slowed down. The person may feel spiritless, tired, out of sorts, or disappointed. Not only will physical bodily functions be affected, but diseases may also manifest, and the thought processes and the mind may also be moved. A negative attitude, fear, uncertainty, etc. may dominate the individual. A constant balance between the chakras encourages good health and a sense of well-being. If the chakras are open to a good cause, somebody could literally short-circuit themselves with too much universal energy flowing through the body. But if the chakras are closed, this does not allow for the universal energy to run through them perfectly, which may contribute to disease. When we block our feelings and stop the flow of our natural energy stream, we respond to distasteful experiences. This affects the growth of the chakras. Whenever a person blocks whatever experience he is having, he in turn blocks his chakras, which eventually become spoiled. When the chakras are working normally, each will be open, spinning and vibrating clockwise to metabolize the particular energies needed from the universal energy field. Let's talk about the quantity of chakras. Inside the human physical makeup are 7 principal chakras. Each chakra has a connection to a separate body area including glands and organs. The word chakra means wheel in Sanskrit. When specialists expand on the wheel concept, they refer to the fact that wheels twirl in a circular movement, which makes a vacuum. As a vacuum, a chakra will pull physical and mental challenges inside the consistency on a vibratory level. The 7 separate chakras each have a function, but they must work in concert to create equilibrium in your consistency. With rest, your body will have physical and emotional tranquility. You can energize all of the 7 chakras with pure toned gems as they center on each area's assigned color. These 7 chakra symbols are important to our wellness. Negative feelings obstruct the turn of these chakras, resulting in ill health and other maladies. A chakra is a vital energy center that resides in our bodies. and is unnoticeable by most contemporary medicine means. The functions of the chakras are defined below. The root or base chakra. The first chakra lies at the root of your spinal column. The fourth ray of harmony through conflict governs it. This bottom chakra supports your full body, which is realized when you practice chakra meditation. Its symbol is earth, and you'll connect to your base chakra when you learn the musical note C. It stands for your inherited faiths and beliefs through your developmental years. A strong root chakra connects you with the spark, vitality of your family origin, the society, and to the immediate community. The root chakra links to the color red, and when the base chakra is off balance, you will feel disconnected. This emotional and physical balance can be recovered by putting all your attention on anything that is red. The various physical parts of your body, such as the immune system, kidneys, legs and base, commands this root chakra. The chakra will spoil various areas of your emotional self that include your sense of loyalty, fidelity, survival instincts and your dignity. An unhealthy root chakra leads to many health issues, which may include joint pain, lower pain in your back, purging problems, corpulence, constipation, anorexia, and reduced immune system functions. Sacral/navel chakra. The seventh ray of ceremonial magic rules this chakra. This chakra is about your relationships, control, sexuality, creativity and money. It is of orange color and is located between the base of your spine and your navel. This chakra affects several physical areas of your physical makeup, such as your adrenal gland, liver and upper intestines, along with your sexual organs, pancreas and stomach. The sacral chakra will also help your creativity and personal relationships. The symbol for this chakra is water, and the musical note is D. When your sacral chakra is out of balance, your body may react to back problems, fertility concerns, a lack of control, compulsive or obsessive behaviors, sexual guilt, etc. This chakra characterizes desire, sexuality, pleasure, and actually represents emotions. Solar plexus chakra. The sixth ray of devotion governs this chakra. The solar plexus chakra is yellow in color. It is located a few inches above the navel in the solar plexus area. The solar plexus chakra focuses your attention on your ego in addition to several physical areas, such as the middle section of your spine, spleen and upper abdomen. The solar plexus chakra also influences your gallbladder and small intestines. A healthy solar plexus chakra credits emotions, warmth, and self-esteem. When the solar plexus chakra is out of balance, it may make you sensitive to critical comments. In addition to this, it causes a dread of rejection, hypersensitivity to criticism, loneliness, low energy and low self-esteem. By concentrating on a yellow item, you can rebalance this chakra. The symbol for the solar plexus chakra is fire, and the musical note associated with it is E. It influences many health issues such as diabetes, liver problems, stomach concerns, hyperglycemia, gallstones, low energy, nervousness, muscle cramps, and many others. Heart chakra. The second ray of love wisdom rules this chakra. It lies in the middle of your chest, and it is responsible for your compassion, love, forgiveness and trust. When you experience a balanced heart chakra, you will be kind, loving and generous towards others. You will be hateful, fearful in your relationships and jealous when your heart chakra is wounded. You can realign this chakra by concentrating on the colors green and pinkish. The symbol for the heart chakra is air, and you may feel more compassionate when you learn the musical note F. The heart chakra is the incorporation point for the several chakras in the body, as it contains the glow of divinity and intuition of the mother. Health issues include high blood pressure, circulation troubles, heart disorders, chest pain, breathing difficulties, and strain between your shoulders. Throat chakra. The third ray of active intelligence rules this chakra. Your throat chakra will affect your decision-making skills and your honesty. It is located in the throat area where it has control over your throat muscles and voice. When your throat chakra has balance, you will have fewer cavities in your teeth along with fit gums. Another bodily advantage to balancing this chakra is that you may not experience throat disease. An unhealthy chakra makes it complicated to communicate because your feelings and emotions may feel suppressed. Since it lies between the cranium and the heart, it aids in maintaining the honesty between our feelings and thoughts. The chakra's color aligns down, and its symbol is sound. You may encourage balance in your throat chakra by listening to the musical note G. Fever, eye problems, voice, neck, cervical spine, ear infections, hypothalamus and esophageal problems are a variety of health issues. Third eye chakra. This chakra is ruled by the fifth ray of concrete knowledge. Its color is indigo, that is a combination of red and blue, and the musical note is A. It is located at the center of your forehead at eye level or slightly above it. Your third eye chakra's connection to your corporeal body is through your psyche and nervous system. The chakra is responsible for affecting your viewpoint and intuition and wisdom. An imbalanced third eye chakra can cause learning troubles, poor memory and a high focus on fantasy-related activities. The symbol associated with the third eye chakra is light. It is related to many health issues, such as headaches, eye troubles, neurological concerns, and the pituitary and pineal glands. The crown chakra. The first ray of will and power governs this chakra. This chakra is located at the crown of the head. The crown chakra manages your body's spirituality. A balanced chakra helps you to obtain widespread energy. You will also feel connected to the cosmos. The chakra will physically move your physical structure through the pineal gland along with numerous areas of your nervous system. The crown chakra is in command of the right side of your head, and when you ponder, you can bring balance to the chakra. The colors violet and white will help you balance the crown chakra, and its connecting musical note is B. The symbol associated with the chakra is information, and when the crown chakra is balanced, you will feel optimistic. Likewise, your awareness of the world will increase. Once you start focusing your attention on the meanings and effects of the 7 chakras, you can apply the elements to align your body physically and mentally. Health issues include migraine headaches, brain tumors, comas, amnesia, nervous and muscular system concerns, mental issues, and skin problems. Spirits, yes, like you. Mostly people rely upon the dictates of their society to know what to do, what they've been taught by their parents, teachers, idols, friends, and the media. Magicians, by contradiction, rely upon the guidance of spirits, at least until they've got their own intuition and experience. What actually are spirits? This is a question that most of us have asked many times in our lives. The result is simply not yet certain. Materialistic science says that spirits don't exist, but this doesn't mean that spirits don't exist. Christians, for instance, often blank out that their religion is spiritualistic. Jesus and the Virgin Mary are spirits, and of course the Holy Spirit, unessential to state, is a feeling. When Christians say, Jesus talks to me and guides me, magicians call that transmitting, channeling, etc. Christians and magicians use dissimilar spirits, but the technical basis communication between spirits and people is the same in all faiths. Spirits can temporarily bestow grace to people who are exposed to it, usually because they've depleted their own imaginations. Only it's not the spirit's job to carry emotional cripples on their backs forever. Spirits can reveal a temporary glimpse of open-heartedness to animate people to seek such spiritual goals on their own. Given a theoretical account of what to strive for, it becomes the duty of the individual to carry on the work commenced by the booze. Everyone is getting messages from spirits, both angelic and demonic ones, all the time. In our society, hearing voices in my brain, which tell me what to do, means that you're sick. So nobody takes a serious look at where his or her opinions are actually coming from. Even people who aren't consciously aware of receiving messages from spirits nonetheless know that they experience impressions, inspirations, or dream messages that guide them in making determinations. Spirits are the root of these transmissions. Moreover, tons of people are possessed by strong drink, both angelic and demonic ones, but in our society more often than not the latter, whether they recognize it or not. Spirit possession is not a bad thing when the spirits involved are benevolent, like Jesus, Krishna, or Buddha. This is because thoughts and touches are all we know. We don't recognize how to process information in any other way. Thus, we interpret the communications we receive from spirits in terms of thoughts or spirits. Yet, that is not how the spirits themselves view this communication. Spirits see it as a mingling, merging or bending of light fibers, and interaction within the halo, or shell of luminosity, which surrounds every being. In other words, spirits' cognition is quite different from humans' normal, socially conditioned mode of knowledge. For example, spirits see them in terms of potentialities rather than concrete results. In other words, the spirits have different personalities, just as people do. They are not amorphous energies or something similar. Perhaps it is a characteristic of human cognition that we humans apprehend spirits as having sex and personality, rather than that these are properties innate of the spirits themselves.